Hi, I'm Jeff VanTroba with the Yakima Area Arboretum, and I'm here in my rose garden. It's also a full sun garden. This garden is an interesting space in that it's laid out formally, but it's planted very informally. What that allows you to do is intermix plants, perennials, and I want people to get away from the concept that roses have to be by themselves in a landscape. So if you look at the bed in front of me, you can see that there's 4 roses on the corner, which is a very formal presentation, but we have clematis growing through them. We have society garlic in here as well. There's also bulbs that come up in the spring, daffodils and tulips. Behind me are pedicites, fuki. It's a Japanese perennial that loves full sun and lots of water. This is an irrigation ditch behind this. And then also these liquid amber slender silhouette. This is something I wanted to point out because this is a large space, but even in your smaller space, or if you don't have a lot of room, it's really important to frame your views and vistas. It just elongates that perspective for you. And then the contrast in shapes and sizes is also really important. The other thing is just perennials in general. So we have herbs that are with the roses, which are a great companion if you think about how you cultivate roses. So we have golden oregano, we have columbine in here, I have yarrow and dwarf irises. That informality also lowers your maintenance for your garden so that you're not, you don't really see weeds so much. So if you don't have the time to cultivate roses on a real formal basis, it allows you to have roses if you love roses, but not have to necessarily spend all that time making everything look so pristine. So the other great combination for roses are clematis. You need to be careful about the size of the clematis, so look for a smaller clematis. What I tend to use are non-vining clematis, and I use the roses as their support. So here's an example of one right here, and you can see these bright, deep purple flower heads that are coming on, and it just looks spectacular dangling off of the foliage, especially this reddish green new foliage of the rose. It just extends that bloom again for your rose garden. You're getting something early spring, and then as it progresses you get the roses, which is great. The other one are the lilies, and lilies bloom in summer too, typically after your roses. So it's another great plant to put in your garden with your roses. The other thing that I want you to think about too in your rose garden is formal edging. So in this bed I've just used some lumber to make my beds, and then I've edged with germander. This is germander, it's an herb. The nice thing about germander is that you cut it back in the fall or late winter. It's a great pollinator, way superior to boxwood in those regards. The bees love it. It also doesn't burn. We have a tendency to lose a lot of the boxwood in our valley if we get a cold, dry winter, or you have a property that's exposed to wind. This is a great formal alternative for you that you can clip as well. The other thing is in my yard, I have chosen to use own root roses. The benefit, again, in our zone 6 climate in the Intermountain West, we have strange weather patterns in the shoulder seasons, and you can lose your rose. These roses, though, will grow back true from their root, whereas a grafted rose may not. You may lose the rose. If you're going to choose to use grafted roses in your garden, you just need to be aware of that and then follow the cultivation instructions on how to get those through our Zone 6 winters. So here's an example of that non-climbing clematis that I was talking about. And you can do this in combination with other plants. I really enjoy this combination with hardy geranium here, with the nodding flowers of the clematis. And then like I talked before, we have the rose right next to it. This also is contrasted really well with the dark red of the Japanese maple above me.